Well, welcome. Good evening, everybody. We're so happy, as always, to see so many families and friends joining us tonight to recognize the academic effort and achievement of our students on the 2025 Massachusetts Comprehension Assessment System, also known as the MCAS test. Tonight, we will recognize students who have exceeded expectations in 2 or more of the tested subject areas, and students that have received a perfect score on any of the MCAS subject tests. As a reminder, MCAS is an end-of-grade level assessment that tests our students on the state curriculum standards in that grade level in the subject areas of English Language Arts, math, civics, and science, technology, and engineering. A point of information: to have exceeded grade level subject expectations, students will have scored between 530 and 559. A perfect score is 560. There is no doubt that our students have worked so hard to achieve this level of academic success, but, and students, please listen to this, without the support of your parents, guardians, family, your teachers, and I did see a few of them in the room tonight, and the support staff, and our school leaders, and our school committee members here tonight, it really would have been difficult for our students to do so well. So while we are certainly celebrating all of you, our students, for your level of achievement, I do hope you just take the time to thank your family and maybe an educator or two in your life who supported you in your learning. And with that, joining us tonight are some of our school principals, Mr. Andrew Long from the high school, if you could give a little wave, Mr. Long, Mr. John Ware from the Wynn Middle School, and Mr. Jay Harding from the Center Elementary School. Also with us are some of our district level administrators, Mr. David Libby, our business manager, Dr. Nancy Milligan, our assistant superintendent, and Suzanne Caliendo, our executive secretary to the superintendent, who worked so hard to put this event on for all of you. Thank you, Suzanne. And members of our school committee are with us. Our school committee chair, Ms. Bridget Garabedian, vice chair, Kayla Biagioni Smith, and school committee members, Ms. Katie Anderson and Christopher Moncato, right here up front. I think I mentioned everyone who's with us to begin recognizing all of you. But before I do that, folks, we're in a large room. In the event that any emergency should happen and you need to find the exits, they are up front here on both sides of the stage, as well as the back of the auditorium when you came in. All right, so we are going to begin recognizing our students in just 1 minute, but I'd like to remind family members, you have seen the program. We have a lot of students to call up to the stage or to the risers. So I'm going to ask for you to please wait until all the students are called in that particular category before clapping, so that all of our family members can hear all of the names. This event is also being recorded, and you'll be able to find the event probably in the next couple of days on youtube.com, Tewksbury TV. Students, when you hear your names called, you are going to come down to the front of the auditorium and greet the school committee member and principal and administrator that's here. They'll give you your medal, and then they'll help and guide you up onto the risers so that we can take a group picture for each of the categories. We're then going to keep you up there, smiling, hopefully either wearing or showing off your medal, so your family and friends here to honor you can take a picture of you. And then students, this is a little new this year. I'm going to try this out. Let's hope it works well. At the end of the ceremony, we're going to invite every student back up to both the stage and the risers and get a very large group photo, because there's so many students who have achieved such academic excellence. We want to recognize you as a large group. All right. So once again, we're going to hold our applause once I begin to read the first group and then the other categories. You can see all of the names in the program, as well as the grade level and subject areas students are receiving recognition for. All right, the first group of students who exceeded expectations in 2 subject areas, We have 33 students in this category. This is an increase from 27 students last year. Are we ready, students? I'm going to begin with the list, starting with Kevin Anschel, Lillian Broman, Ruby Cook, Henry Mugari, Adia Nagala, Mila Patel, Jameson Sconyers, Benjamin Spatola, Kiara Spalding, Maverick Coy, Skylar Beeson, Charlotte McAvoy, Ashley Tavares Yeb, Mason Tremblay, Josiah Holland, Mitch Bushin, Samantha Conroy, Ella Gariano, Isabella Laporto, Jeffrey Tusseri, Natalie Watkins, Zachary Bergeron, Alex Hyduk, Leah Corey, Sarah King, Aubrey Ledoux, Craig Beausoleil, Eric Frazier, Trish Ha, Zach Hyduk, Christopher Kapitanakis, James Keenan, and Phoenix Rizzuti. Those are the students who have exceeded expectations in 2 subject areas. Congratulations to the students. And while they assemble for pictures, I should have announced that students that are not here, we will hold on to their medal and the principals will make sure they get them back at the school. If we need any of our shorter students in the front, feel free to move. The first group always sets the standard for the rest. Great. All right, students, don't forget to smile out at the audience. Mr. Marshall, did you get a picture as well? Okay, great. All right. All right, students, thank you very much. Congratulations. And as they take their seat, and look so proud in those medals. The next group of students have exceeded expectations in 3 subject areas. We have 6 students, which is an increase from 2 students last year. And those students are Eleanor Bourne, Paige Hamilton, Timothy Bazinski, Kyle Chu, Marabella Cracchiola, and Maya Hyduk. Okay, congratulations, students. Waiting for the cue from Mr. Marshall. Great. Thank you, students. Okay, and you might notice in the next category, these students exceeded expectations in 4 subject areas. And that would only be our 8th grade students because this is a new civics MCAS test for 8th graders. We have 2 students that have achieved that level, in first of which is Alexia Bathoni and Shaitan Madupu. There you go. All right, congratulations. All set. Quite an achievement. Okay. The next group are students with a perfect score of 560 in one subject area. We have 8 students this year, and I'm going to read their names, starting with Adam Strizak, Avanthia Kazanis. I hope I did that right, Avanthia. Noelani Lopez Roja, Jillian Wagstaff, Abigail Hogan, Aaron Zanidi, Avital Gaidakova, and Maya Anderson. And there they are, folks. Students with a perfect score. Okay. All right, students, congratulations. Okay. The next group are our students with a perfect score of 560 in one subject area, plus exceeding expectations in one subject area. We have 8 students this year in that category, which is an increase from 3 students last year. All right, let's read their names, beginning with Jacob Ackroyd, Arman Khan, Joseph Laporto. And might I add, these are students that were in the 3rd grade last year. How impressive is that? This is the first time taking MCAS tests, and we have perfect and exceeding scores with many 3rd graders. Next is Aliana Marr, Nora Mullins, Leah Sawyer, Aria Milner, and Cordelia Zwarek. Okay, great, thank you, Ms. Marshall. Thank you, students. The next category are students who received a perfect score of 560 in one subject area and exceeded expectations in 2 subject areas. Yes, group 6. And they are Ria Jumani and Catherine Pajic. Okay, thank you, students. Congratulations to you. This next group of students is quite large, so we'll make sure we want to make sure everyone is seen. So if you're a little shorter than the next students, please get in that front row, or way up high behind someone else shorter than you. Now we will recognize the class of 2025 recipients of the John and Abigail Adams Scholarship Award. The Tewksbury Memorial High School has 49 recipients of this scholarship. The John and Abigail Adams Scholarship is a merit-based program that provides a tuition credit for up to 8 semesters of undergraduate education at a Massachusetts state college or university. The scholarship covers tuition. Scholarships will be granted to students whose combined score places them in the top 25% of students in their district and who also meet MCAS score requirements. This is a long list. I thank you for your patience before we applaud these students. And the list begins with Jeremy Bazoué, Jonathan Berger, Cassie Berry, Sam Berry, Sophia Bova, Samuel Caballero, Juliana Capiello, Maddox Cretion, Michael Calamita, Anthony Copey, Tyler Crawford, Alan Dang, Eric Dobson, Abigail Downing, Nala Alawahi, Kyle Ernwine, Cameron Frechette, Allison Farilla, Nathan Galley, Rebecca Godin, Jason Grant, Samuel Grathwall, Joanna Green, Cameron Goodner, Peyton Haynes, and that's half of them, so Sean Kosmersky, Sophia Kretzinger, John Lightfoot, Janina Long, Evan Lynch, Zachary Manti, Ethan Martins, Dylan McNally, Chloe Mello, Jenalise Mercer, Jeff Muyanja, Stephen Opedisano, Vincent Rodriguez, Yasmin Rosa, Allison Spritzer, Angelina Silva, Catherine Stanton, Ian Todd, Ryan Tuxbury, Owen Wall, Madison Watchorn, Emily Watkins, Jeremiah Webb, and Bavli Youssef. Those are our Abigail Adams Scholarship Award winners. Principal Long just shared with me there's a track meet and a wrestling meet and maybe something in hockey. There's a bunch of things. So many of our high school students will receive their award tomorrow when you call them down to the office. So how are we doing on picture, Ms. Marshall? Okay. I think it would be appropriate while all of you are there, maybe, if we could get middle row and the front row of our high school students to take the stage. And then we'll get all of our middle and elementary students up to the risers. So let's get a group picture before we do our closing. Excellent. High schoolers. You're actually practicing for all of the award ceremonies you'll have this year. And remember, if you can't see the audience in front of you, they're not going to see you in the picture. All right, and I'm going to invite our administrators and school committee members to flank both sides of the students for a very large group picture. So we're asking our students to take their seats again, and I think that worked. I hope it worked. While we invite our school committee chairwoman, Bridget Garabedian, to give us our closing remarks.
Hello guys, I'll be really brief, and thank you again for joining us. This is a really special night. This was a tradition that was started, well before any of us were on the school committee, but we've continued it on. But I'd like to share a thought from the poet Amanda Gorman. She was an author who presented to us recently, and this was just a quote that spoke to me. And for there is always light, if only we brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it. So tonight, that makes me feel as though we are celebrating the light in this room tonight. Tewksbury students with persistence and character, with the commitment to give their best effort and exceed expectations, that's all of you. So to me, I believe that you're students that gave it your all. You didn't have to, but you did. You chose to. It was your choice to give it everything you had on this test. To our third graders through our high schoolers, we know that the landscape of testing is changing. You may know that these tests are no longer tied to our graduation requirements, but that doesn't make your achievements any less significant. In fact, some might argue that makes it more meaningful. You didn't work hard because you had to, like I said. For a diploma, you worked hard because you're committed to your own excellence. That grit, that's what is going to carry you through life. While graduation requirements have evolved, these tests remain one vital metric among many that we use to evaluate our schools. For our principals and our administrators, this data is a high-level view of how we're all serving all the learners in our district. For our principals and our administrators, this can also be a tool of equity. It helps us see where we are succeeding, where we need to lean in more, to ensure that every student is getting what they deserve and what they need for services. As your school committee, we work with the superintendent and the assistant superintendent to set and support the goals and policies of this district. We look at this as a data, as a compass, not a finish line, and it tells us if we're moving in the right direction, and it helps us make decisions and it helps us in paving the path for your success. So to the families, thank you so much for your partnership. Students, congratulations. And to our school administrators and teachers, thank you for all that you do for students. It means everything. And Tewksbury is incredibly proud of all of you. And congratulations. Thank you so much for coming and celebrating us tonight.
Jason, we're ready. Okay, it's at 6:11 p.m. and we are now starting our regular school committee meeting. Today is December 17th, 2025, and we are now back in LGI 1 at the high school. So we haven't been here for a while, so this is kind of feeling a little bit different. So if we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is this still a car?
I'm not sure.
Here's a car. Okay, that was awesome. Okay, and starting with, we have Maggie. Welcome back.
You need to do the announcement.
Oh, sorry. We do have an announcement. We have, we're showing on Comcast Channel 22, on Verizon Channel 34, and on YouTube.com/TewksburyTV. Under the open meeting law, the public is permitted to make an audio or video recording of an open session public meeting. At this time, is anybody recording the meeting? Seeing nobody. I would like to mention that we do have tonight, Jamie Cutlass is joining us remotely. I did confer with the town clerk in accordance with CMR 940-29.10. We'll make the necessary adjustments for remote participation tonight. So if there's any questions, please let me know after the meeting. And I will move on to Maggie. Welcome.
Thank you. All right, good evening, everyone. I hope you all have had a great month, and I can't wait to share the last update of 2025. First up, we have clubs. Ending the 2025 club season, the International Club had 22 students help at the Jingle Bell Race in Haverhill. Their responsibilities included distributing the race numbers, giving out swag and medals at the finish line. The event acted as both a volunteer hours for the student participants and a fundraiser for the club. DECA is in full swing preparing for the upcoming district conference in January. Two of the biggest projects run through DECA have been executed this past month. First is Unified DECA, which took place on December 4th. The project prepared by senior Mariela Bellino and junior Lila Arias combined career readiness skills with students in the Best Buddy programs, both the students and the buddies. The second project of the month starts tomorrow, Thursday, with Bridget Kelleher and Evan Lynch have worked since before Easter to execute the holiday gift wrap at the Senior Center and Team HS. When back from break, all DECA students will have time to shine, showing off their role play skills and presenting their prepared events. It all starts on January 7th, where 94 students will be going to UMass Lowell for the DECA testing. The following day is Team HS DECA Alumni and Prep Night at Team HS, and finally the actual DECA District Conference will be held on January 13th and 14th. She's the First is starting the year off with the Flurry for Compassion fundraiser, selling a suggested donation of $1 snowflakes that students and staff can write their name and hang on. The proceeds will be going to the Tewksbury Food Pantry. Lastly, the Art Club is already looking ahead to the art show in May, picking this year's collaborative art theme, which is bees. Next up, I have updates from Team HS Sports. The fall season officially came to a close the week after Thanksgiving, when our football team took on the reigning champs, Scituate, at Gillette. After a hard-fought battle, we unfortunately came short, losing by a singular point. Though we might have not come home with the win, this year will go down in the history books as a year of victory. The winter sports season took no time getting started, with the girls and boys hockey team, track, boys basketball, and wrestling all having their season starts this past weekend, while gymnastics had their first meet Monday, and girls basketball kicked off their season last night with a home game. All teams are waiting for the first round of power rankings to be released, with girls hockey, boys basketball, and boys hockey all expected to be ranked in the top 10 of their respective divisions. And finally, the miscellaneous news. Team HS students are awaiting winter break to start, getting into the holiday spirit with the Spirit Week, starting the week with holiday sweaters and ending with the holiday PJ Day on Tuesday the 23rd. That's all for tonight. I hope you all have a great holiday break and a Happy New Year.
Thank you, Maggie. Any questions or comments from anybody?
Just comment. Thank you. And happy holidays to you. And
Thank you.
sounds like there's a lot of good stuff going on as usual.
Yep.
No questions or comments. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, Maggie.
Have a good night.
Okay, great. And now we have a presentation, and Mr. Regan, if you'd like to introduce it.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I am very pleased to share with you that the Tewksbury Memorial High School robotics team, 1474, in their 22nd year of competition, was selected to compete in the University of Rhode Island's regional FRC qualifying event in March. I'm going to invite our lead mentor and coach, Mr. Victor Imping, as well as mentor coach Brent Conway, and one of our teammates, Donovan Conway, up to the podium to share some of the details about this exciting event and the trip. And they are seeking your permission to attend this overnight competition. There will be 1 day of school miss. I can tell you that they have met all the requirements of policy IJOA on field trips, and will certainly be available to update all of us through me if any of the details of the trip should change before March. So with that, I'd like to turn the mic over to our mentor leaders and our student to tell us more.
Actually, I'm going to let Donovan provide some overall context for the competition, and Brent will speak to the details. Okay?
So we compete in the FRC competition annually. It's refreshed every year at the beginning of January. There's about 3,500 teams worldwide that compete, with about 200 here in the New England district alone. At the event we'll be attending, there'll be 32 teams from New England that were selected to compete there. We don't know the game yet. We'll find out in coming weeks. But we're excited to jump into it and start building.
So the events have started to use college campuses. They tend to use them during the spring breaks that exist. The venue size and space makes a lot more sense than trying to do it at a high school, for instance, for 32 teams. The University of Rhode Island, we actually attended last year as well. And attending last year, we drove back and forth. Most of the team drove back and forth. A few team members stayed with their parents in a local hotel. I think as much as Vic likes driving, that proved to be a bit of a burden, the 2 hours both ways. We've gone to Springfield before, which is like 90 minutes, but the 2 hours is a little too much for a 2-day event. So we're requesting an overnight trip. We've identified a hotel that multiple teams stay at. Fairfield Inn. We're looking for 2 nights. So the night of the 19th and the night of the 20th, we would return back on Saturday, the 21st. The students would be missing a day of school to attend. We anticipate anywhere from 10 to 12. We have about 15 active members that are there. We don't necessarily think all 15 will be coming on the overnight trip. Some may come down just for a day, for one of the days of the competition too. So I think all the information is included there. As far as funding goes, I think we're very fortunate. We have some long-standing commitments from local businesses that have and industry partners who have contributed and ongoing. We've been able to build up some new ones as well. So all the funding would be covered out of sort of the industry sponsors that exist. I think actually a little later on your agenda, you have some approvals in front of you for multiple sponsorship donations that exist. And we actually have more that will be coming too in the coming months too. So happy to answer any questions or address any of that.
Okay. No. Any questions, comments?
No questions or comments. I suppose just think it's great. I'm all for it. I think other than you get the experience of the tournament itself, and then just the camaraderie I'm sure that will come out of it, right? So I think it's great.
Mr. Cutlass, any questions, comments?
Also, Madam Chair, thank you.
Okay.
I'm good, thank you.
Just one. The unknown female adult chaperone, I see here that you said a Corey and all that stuff to go through. So as long as that goes through, that would go through.
And as I said, I can update you on any further details as we get closer to it through a memo. Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, with that being the only unknown, it seems like everything sounds awesome. Sounds like a really great experience for everyone, and I hope you have a great time.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
No, completely in support, and yeah, good luck.
Want to take a vote?
Yeah, to vote. And so I would entertain a vote.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the overnight field trip for the Tewksbury Robotics.
I'll second.
Okay, so that will be a roll call vote, because now with remote participation, all of our votes tonight will be roll call. So for Thursday, March 19th through, that was the 21st of March, with students missing one day of school. All in favor, Mr. Cutlass, how do you vote? Aye. Mr. Moncada?
Aye.
Ms. Anderson?
Aye.
And Ms. B. Jones Smith?
Aye.
And I'm aye as well, so that's unanimous, Mrs. Terry Regan. Thank you guys so much for coming in.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Donovan, thank you so much for your on-the-spot presentation.
That's great.
It was awesome. Okay. Now we have a citizens forum. Is there anybody here that was here for citizens forum tonight? Nope. Now our approval of minutes. Mr. Cutlass, were you prepared for that tonight?
I'll move the meeting minutes from November 19th, 2025, regular business meeting.
I'll second.
Okay, a motion by Mr. Cutlass, a second by Mrs. B. Johnny Smith. Again, roll call vote. Mr. Cutlass, how do you vote?
Abstain, I wasn't there.
Okay, Mr. Moncada?
Aye.
Mrs. Anderson?
Aye.
Mrs. B. Johnny Smith?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well, so that's a vote of 4 to 1 abstention. And next, submission and payment of bills.
I'll move the payroll for the period ending November 20th, 2025, the amount of $1,840,011.73.
I'll second.
Okay, a motion by Mr. Cutlass, second by Mrs. B. and Johnny Smith, to approve and certify the payroll period ending November 20th, 2025, in the total amount of $1,840,011.73. Mr. Cutlass, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Moncada?
Aye.
Mrs. Anderson?
Aye.
Mrs. B. Johnny Smith?
Aye.
And I'm aye as well. And
I'll also move the payroll for the period ending December 4th, 2025, the amount of $1,713,365.67.
I'll second.
okay, a motion by Mr. Cutlass, second by Mrs. B. Johnny Smith, to approve and certify payroll period ending December 4th, 2025, total amount $1,713,365.67. Mr. Cutlass, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Moncada?
Aye.
Mrs. Anderson?
Aye.
Mrs. B. Johnny Smith?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well for a unanimous vote. And our superintendent and staff reports, Mrs. Terry O'Regan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me first start by saying thank you to you and the committee for allowing us to go to the Title I Case Conference earlier this month. This is a grant-funded conference that focuses on literacy for all students in both ELA and math, especially those students of high needs that we service through Title I funds. A few of the sessions I felt were very helpful for us in our roles were the updates and perspectives from Washington by David DeShriver and Doug Mesgar, in helping us to understand the historical and current federal decisions that have impacted Title I and IDEA grant funding, especially most recently with the new, and for some a bit confusing, interagency agreements happening at the federal level, like the Department of Education now falling under the Department of Labor. We learned a lot about why we were hearing late about our entitlement grants through that perspective. I also appreciated the Universal Design for Learning, the UDL, keynote, and strategies to use AI in designing engaging UDL lessons for all learners keynote, both masterfully delivered by Katie Novak and by the former DESE Commissioner Jeff Riley, respectively. Certainly lessons learned and stories shared with our New England colleagues in this instructional leadership work is always the most rewarding experience of this conference. With January right around the corner, and you'll see in your packet, it's soon time for preschool and kindergarten registration. Again, within your packet are many pages of information that are the informational flyers for our preschool pre-registration, the informational sessions, and the kindergarten registration steps for our community members with students of those ages. The flyers are posted on the district website, the school websites, and they are shared with our local preschools and will be published in the district newsletter for the next months to come. Parents and guardians are certainly welcome to call the schools or our central registrar at the central office if they need more information. Let me turn the page. Also in your consent agenda, I want to begin with some donations, as you heard Mr. Conway reference. Madam Chair, we have some very generous donations that will require a vote from the school committee. And let me start with the first bullet. The Dillon Elementary School is the recipient of the donation of 2 new basketball hoops valued at approximately $2,000 and 1 Gaga pit valued at $800. These donations are from the Dewing School PAC. The Center Elementary School is a recipient of the donation of 332 new thesauruses, say that word, for grade 3 staff and students valued at $1,344 from the Tewksbury-Wilmington Elks. And the Tewksbury Memorial High School robotics team has received the following sponsorship donations through your approval from BAE, $1,500, the Tewksbury Public Schools, $3,150, Tokyo Electron, $2,500, Analog Devices, $5,000, and the Tewksbury Federal Credit Union, $500. Again, through your vote of the consent agenda, we'll be able to accept those donations. Also in your packet is the Valley Collaboratives quarterly information. As per Massachusetts regulations on educational collaboratives and in accordance with the provisions of Mass General Law, you will find several documents that you're required to see on a quarterly basis. So you have the Valley Collaboratives newsletter attached, you have the Valley Collaboratives Treasurer's Report, and then you have the interim statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in net assets. With your affirmative vote on the consent agenda, you are acknowledging receipt of these Valley Collaborative reports under Massachusetts regulation and general law. Okay, I have an update on some grants. Madam Chair, as you know, Tewksbury Public Schools has been recently notified by the Department of Education, DESE, that our district is currently ineligible for certain educational grant funding due to the town of Tewksbury's non-compliance with the MBTA Communities Act. The following grants have been denied or restricted for fiscal year 2026, this school year. The first one is the Early College Pre-Planning Grant for $25,000. That was denied, which then impacts the upcoming early college planning grants and early college designation funding, which is up to $250,000 for the next 5 years. And then a timeout practices implementation grant for $50,000 to support schools with resources to comply with the new DESE 2025 regulations on seclusion and restorative practices. That grant was also denied. DESE also shared with us that Tewksbury Public Schools' participation in current 2026 state-funded grants and future grants remain at risk until the town remediates this compliance issue. On a surprising note, however, the Boston Herald published a recent article titled "Massachusetts Schools Mistakenly Informed About Funding Loss Amid MBTA Fights." The article specifically noted the Credit for Life financial literacy grant-funded program, which you may remember us boasting about at our last meeting. That was the only grant that the article referenced, so we're very much concerned that our students could lose out on the programs and resources that we depend on through grant funding, especially for factors outside of the school department's control. But the article that I referenced certainly gave us hope that maybe the state leaders and legislators will look at educational grant funding differently moving forward, aside from the MBTA Community Act compliance. So nonetheless, we are committed to working with state and town officials to see if we can resolve this barrier and secure essential resources for our students. I will put these details in a memo to all of you members of the committee and through you, Madam Chair, and keep this topic open with updates after we reach out to our own state legislators to learn more. Madam Chair, also in your side packet is a wonderful example of how we use and expand programs and real-life career learning opportunities for our students through received grant funding. I invite you to look at that packet as I read the update from our Project Lead the Way coordinator, Mary Jo Kelleher. Tewksbury Memorial High School students in Project Lead the Way, Introduction to Engineering and Design, and AP Computer Science participated in a Student Solve, a 4-hour in-school ideathon presented in partnership with 1-8 and the Mass Learning Project. Working in collaborative teams, students applied their STEM skills, creativity, and problem-solving strategies to tackle real-world challenges presented by industry partners. You'll maybe recognize some of the students in those pictures. 2 organizations shared authentic problems for our students to solve. The PanMass Challenge, the PMC, had students explore ways to streamline the PMC's rider-to-team matching process to help more riders join teams, increase fundraising impact, and reduce the heavy manual workload currently required. Philips Lumify had students working on ideas to improve the ease of use and image clarity for the Lumify portable ultrasound device, an important tool used in rural clinics, ambulances, and other mobile medical settings. Throughout the event, students brainstorm, design, and prototype potential solutions, receiving feedback from the local industry experts while experiencing what real engineering and computer science problem solving looks like in action. This hands-on opportunity allowed students to engage deeply in innovative teamwork, and design thinking, key skills that prepare them for future STEM pathways. This is what these types of grants bring to us. It's not just money and resources, it's experiences and connection with partners, which is why this grant funding is so critical. So I had the opportunity to discuss this experience with several of our students. Most were just thoroughly engaged and excited about what they learned. In fact, many of them plan to join a high school student visioning session with the JCJ, the consultant, working to look at the vision of our schools. And they're really looking forward to using their new skills to do that for the town of Tewksbury. So I want to thank you again to Mary Jo Kelleher, Principal Andy Long, for coordinating the event. You see pictures of Mike Hancock, Sanford Abagast. Those are 2 of the teachers that were leading the students through the event. And of course, to our amazing grant team, Ms. Karen Baker O'Brien and Dr. Cindy Bastieri, for securing these types of student opportunity grants for our district. And with that concludes my updates, but I'd like to at least add happy holidays to all those who may be watching and following along tonight as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm sure there's some comments. I'll start with Mr. Cutlass. Jamie, any comments?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Could I ask, Ms. Reagan, what's the total amount of grants we're going to lose?
Well, right now with the 3, it's a 2-part and a third. That's at about $320,000-ish, but it's not just the money, it's the partnerships, remember, with industry partners and colleges, and then getting that early college designation. So that was a real kick in the teeth, if you will, for the work that we've been doing all year. If we look at all of our 2026 grants, at least some of the bigger ones, if they're in jeopardy as well, and again, I add to it the programming and the partnerships, that's about $2.3 million. So we're looking at substantial funding loss. However, you know, yesterday we got that little shred of hope that maybe at the state level, educational grant funding may not be as impacted as we are told. Albeit, we heard of the one grant, Credit for Life, being secured. We're hoping that we can work together and secure the others. At this point, we don't have any proof of that, but we're hopeful.
Are we going to make the town manager and the selectmen, are they aware of this?
Yes, and I shared with the town manager, and we had a conversation because we had just received those emails that the first 3 that I shared with you, 2 of them were denied. The second one is in partner with it, so we're ineligible. All the others are at risk because you know, what we were told is unless the district or the town complies by September of 2026, we're at risk for every 2026 grant. Now, with I think there's more information to obviously build into this conversation that we want to share. And as I said, I'll put together what we have in communication into a memo, and then see what happens when we touch base with our state legislators.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Chair, thank you, Mr. Reagan.
Madam Chair, if you don't mind, just to follow up on that. So aside from the money, in terms of the partnerships, is it, once it's gone, will someone else jump into that spot and then so it's not like, all right, we might lose it for a year, we'll get ourselves together. Once it's gone, is there a likelihood that it's gone because they'll move on to partner with someone else?
Correct. For example, not getting the early college pre-planning grant, this Part A and B, not getting that means we're ineligible, and someone else, they're filling that people are getting that money instead of us. So that puts us off, and it was non-competitive. This snuck up as a reason that we did not know of, that we wouldn't get that grant. So yes, it now in jeopardy is any of the other partnerships. Now, they are an annual piece.
Application?
They are. But again, I don't know where we'll sit in our eligibility after 2026 either.
Thank you for the follow-up.
I guess a lot more questions to come once we know more. I think this is just so new that we don't know what the effect is on the budget if we lose these grants and any other grants that we may lose because of it. So I think if we can, once we know what this looks like, if we can turn that into what that effect is on the budget and on our staffing, then I think that's something more tangible that we can work with when we get to that point.
Yeah. And there are town grants as well in jeopardy, and I did, we reached out to Maria Ruggiero, who's working with us on a 10-year grant, a significant dollar figure, at the tune of, I think it was $100,000 in year 1 and 2 per year, 150 to 250 in years 3 and 4, and then 250 plus each year for 8 years. It's social emotional well-being grant, partnering with prevention with the town. We have not heard whether or not that grant is in jeopardy, but when these were red flagged, that's why we wanted the town manager and other grant writers to know this could impact some other significant funding. So, I mean, we're obviously going to do all we can do to reach out, but it is a Mass General law that has been quoted we're in non-compliance with.
So I think this sounds like, so your plan is to now reach back to DESE, ask for clarification where this article has brought some of this information to light, correct? Get clarification there, and then reach out to our legislation and ask for their support and understanding that initially with this MBTA, and this isn't our domain. I don't know as much about this as I think our select board does and some of maybe our planning board. But there were some grants that were cited initially with this law. And these grants that are now, we were being told, were not listed in that.
Mr. Libby, if you remember, I think I have the information here, but yes, when town meeting occurred, Mr. Libby looked into, would we be in jeopardy of losing grant dollars? And I forget the...
Right, the specific, I don't remember the specific, there were 4 funding sources that were noted as being in jeopardy if towns weren't in compliance, and they all had to do with infrastructure work on roadways and capital projects and residential development, things like that. They didn't name anything like that was related to schools.
I'll put that in the memo that I type up with the details that have been shared with us thus far, so that you can see, and that was our understanding going into town meeting. I mean, as a resident, that was my understanding. We did not know that we were at risk of educational grants being denied as a result. from the information that we had read. So, yeah, it's obviously confusing to us right now, and it's a disappointment. I'm going to hold out hope. You have that.
I have the acts
the
that
law.
were supposed to be, shall not be eligible for funds from the Housing Choice Initiative, Local Capital Projects Fund, as established in 2 EEE of Chapter 29, again, capital projects, MassWorks Infrastructure Program, and the Housing Works Infrastructure Program established in Section 27.5 of Chapter 23B. Those were the 4 funding sources, and none of them had to do with education, so.
Okay. All right, so I think once we have this clarified, we can then, I think, circle back to the town and try and move forward from there. But I think certainly sooner rather than later. So anything we can do to help you, support you in that, and also thank you to Cindy Bastieri for the work that she's doing, because I think this has to be frustrating on her end, because, where she's, worked on this for so long.
Very much so. And she's really been digging into all the details to try to learn more. I should let you know, originally we were told we were denied based on our SIMS data. And we have I think it's a 22% needy community, students of low income and high need. And we were originally told we didn't meet a threshold, but it was a non-competitive grant. So that, when we knew, Cindy right away flagged and said, that's not true. That's not right. So what happened? And digging deeper is how we got that answer. So I appreciate that work that she did. It didn't give us a better answer. It just helped us to try to understand now what do we do.
Okay. Well, we're going to need some support, and I think at least that's what we can do on our end, is do some outreach there at the state level and see if we can get some support while you do your outreach to DESE.
Madam Chair, I have a question. The programs that this would have funded, are they temporarily dead in the water, so to speak, until money were to come in, or can they be funded or have smaller versions of them for money found elsewhere?
Well, we were working with a consultant, and we still communicate with that consultant to see if there are other options. Now, again, it's not only the money. It's about getting that pre-planning to be ready for the big grant, and it's about those partnerships and the early college designation. I don't see how we can buy our way into any of that. And the pot of money is only so big in these grant funds. So once they're given out to other districts, there's nothing left in them. So it's a question still yet to ask.
With regards to the rest of your update, had some other things, in there that were great. The Title I conference sounds excellent. So, I actually appreciate the fact that you're taking time to continue your learning and your professional development in that way, both you and Dr. Milligan. So thank you for going, taking time away from your families to do that. And then also getting that information out for pre-K and registration. I know that there's been some community conversation about that, so that's helpful. And then I also appreciate the fact that since going to the townwide PACs, having conversation with them about wanting more information about how they're spending some of that wonderful money that they're collecting. It is nice to see what they're giving back to the schools. I know how much they're doing, but now actually being able to see it and giving them credit for it, it feels good, to have them get credit for that, each month. It's a nice thing to do. I know it's a little extra work for them, but I look at this as them getting credit for it. So I hope you can give them that feedback when you have another townwide PAC meeting with them. And then also, I did have a child of my own, participate in that Project Lead the Way. So when I did speak with her about it, it's pretty intense.
Oh, yeah.
And they actually did work directly with those companies, like Philips, like they did with, on Zoom with some of their engineers and high-level people. So thank you, Mr. Long and your team at the high school for putting some of this stuff together for students, because for students that are like really engineer focused, these kids are getting really, really good experiences, real world stuff. So, and when we talk about hands-on learning, I know when I started the committee, I kept talking about this hands-on learning stuff and experiences. It's come really far in 5 years or 4 years or whatever. So thank you so much for the work that you're doing. 'Cause I think on a daily basis, you don't even tell us half of what they're doing at the high school level. I don't know how you could, but we could have a whole school committee on just the high school. Anyway, so that's what I have to say. Anything else?
Just a clarifying question. With the other donations, the one from the Tewksbury Public Schools, how does that work? Is it a fund that we have for donations to clubs?
No, Mr. Libby can, that's a great question, because it does look funny. Wait a minute.
Right.
Yeah.
Which,
How the funding came through the Tewksbury Public Schools and now goes to the robotics team.
oh, they have a student activities account for their club that's managed here at the school. There's two ways that funds can be spent outside of the warrant process that we do here. The Wynn Middle School has a checkbook that the principal can write checks from, and the high school has one here as well. High schools is more active, has a lot more clubs and groups, and they collect and spend a lot more money than most of the other schools. So they have the ability to deposit money into their own accounts and write checks out of their own accounts. That technically is the students' money, and we're sort of custodians of that money for them. We manage it and track the amount that's in the checkbook and how much is in each club's little pie, if you will, and then that's run by a treasurer here at the high school. And that is how the kind of funding came from Tewksbury to Tewksbury.
It would have come from smaller fundraising
I've just never seen it before.
of the club. Yeah.
Because this is the first time we've ever seen like a donation from Tewksbury Public Schools. I'm assuming we've used them. We've used that money before in a different way.
In a different, yeah, I don't know that it's come to the school department for us to spend on something that we've spent. Usually they're just buying something directly.
Right.
And I think, as you heard Mr. Conway say, they wanted it noted that those funds for that trip were coming from the donations and from those organizations.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of their fundraising. They're doing the fundraising, and then they're writing a check directly to, the bus company or wherever their expenses are happening.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. That was it for me.
I had one other thing I wanted to ask about. In March, I think we approved like the new pre-K model.
Exactly, that's what's referred.
And so, so this year was the first year of that, right? So what this information is for next year, that to be the second year of the program? We approved it in March. So
yes.
it started this year.
Starts in next year.
Okay, so
wouldn't it have been
for this school year, 25, 26? The new program, when we voted on it in March.
So it feels like a long time ago, but we got the presentation for the next school year.
So that would have been so that's what this is for?
Yes.
Okay. So it hasn't actually started, it'll be in the 20...
No, it's running this year.
No. Is it running, though, the different 3- and 4-year-old group? Remember the new schedule? Is that running now?
Correct.
Okay.
It is.
So this,
My correction.
So
This is just a re-registration. And it will continue.
Right. Okay. So when we did that, did we increase capacity as well? Like we were able to get more students into it?
It's yes and no. The capacity depends on the integrated amount of students and then how many seats we have. I think we increased one classroom this school year. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Mr. Libby, do you remember? Yes.
We did.
And that is always contingent on how many students are referred throughout the year and if we have to increase the grouping. So keep in mind, we only have so many seats in each of those programs. And if we receive more students with special education needs, those intervention needs, and they go past capacity of those groups, we can increase the class. We try to predict for that, but as students turn 3 and 4 throughout the school year, you know, we leave a few open seats for that reason.
Yeah.
But I believe we're up 1 and maybe next year up a 2nd.
I just did a little dive into this from just a tuition standpoint. The total number of enrollments is very similar to last year. The capacity is higher. We were a little late getting out in the market, if you will, last year.
Right, because that's why we had to vote on it. We had to vote on it so we didn't get it going.
Right. We want to be accepting those registrations like in January, because people need to get a place in a preschool in January if they're going to a private preschool. And we didn't get out until March last year, so we may have missed a few folks, but just by the fact that we get out a little late. So we're hoping we'll have a few less empty seats next year by being out in January as we normally are.
Yeah. I think we're expanding one extra grouping at the Heathbrook as well next year.
I think we can, that's the plan, yeah.
And we won't know those numbers really till closer to the end of the year compared to last year, because they, as I said, they grow.
Very good, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you so much. It was a good update. And Dr. Milligan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm also going to speak a little bit about the CASE conference. The theme for the conference was leadership skills for today's students. One of the keynotes, Doug Fisher, discussed how leadership skills have shifted over the past several decades, and he advocates that there are 5 traits, including trustworthiness, competence, immediacy, dynamism, and forward thinking, that have risen to the top of the traits that most successful leaders in a fast-paced changing society need. His presentation also dove into the different ideals of each generation, from baby boomers to the current generation, if you're born after 2011, Generation Alpha, in our schools, and how communication styles and feedback needed, along with working styles, work values, motivations, and priorities impact those effective relationships in our schools every day. He was very thought-provoking in thinking about how relationships within our schools and our educational ecosystem can really benefit all stakeholders. We were also able to attend a session from Natalie Wexler. She's the author of The Knowledge Gap, who discussed key importance in the building of background knowledge with students in literacy, which really reinforces the importance of the K-6 ELA curriculum that we have in place. It's always nice to be validated by experts in the field when you sit in these conferences, and I much appreciate the opportunity to attend this conference, as I always learn so much, so thank you. This week, the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education is conducting an important audit in our school district. Specifically, DESE's Office of Language Acquisition, also known as OLA, will review our English language learner education programming and procedures to monitor compliance with federal and state English learner education laws and regulations. This OLA audit is part of the DESE's tiered focus monitoring system, which operates on a 6-year cycle and emphasizes elements most tied to student outcomes. Following this English language education audit, the district will also undergo reviews for special education and civil rights at a later date during the cycle. The audit, along with upcoming audits, always include the review of student records to determine whether procedural and programmatic requirements are being met, surveys of select populations. Right now, some of our multilingual learner parents have received surveys from DESE to gather feedback on their experiences with the district's programs and services, and interviews with staff members and administration. Based on this review, these findings, districts are assigned a risk level or across 4 tiers. Low risk districts are a tier 1 or a tier 2, and they are going to develop a continuous improvement and monitoring plan called CHIMP. There's so many acronyms to know. And then higher risk districts, tier 3 or tier 4, receive more of a formal report and must develop a corrective action plan to address identified noncompliance.
So as you're thinking through the last tiered focus monitoring review that we went through, it's a 6-year process, but there's a self-evaluation year that goes into a report year, which goes into your next cycle. So there's the first half, and then it's somewhat starts again because there are different components. So it feels like we're always in some sort of DESE audit. So those reports will be out later this year that I will share with you. NAEP testing. The National Assessment of Educational Progress, also known as NAEP, has randomly assigned to schools across the nation each year, and this year our grade 4 students have been identified to participate in the testing. Grade 4 testing involves the first administration of new updated frameworks for both math and reading. The last update to the NAEP frameworks was in 2006. They assess core content such as number sense and geometry to literacy, literary text and informational text in ELA. Using a mix of multiple choice and short answer questions, our 4th grade students will pilot the NAEP test on NAEP issued devices this year. Our testing will occur somewhere between January 26th and March 20th of this year. So we will see how that goes with our 4th grade students. Finally, in my report, on December 1st, the Healy-Driscoll administration released a proposed statewide graduation framework interim report that would establish comprehensive educational standards requiring all students to complete core subject areas and demonstrate mastery through assessments while phasing out the 10th grade MCAS exam and eliminating high-stakes testing as the graduation barrier. So in this interim report, they've developed 7 competencies that they're working towards. The framework aims to prepare students for diverse post-graduation paths, including college, trades, employment, and military services, through these 7 elements of content mastery, creativity, and real-world problem solving. Upon the release of the proposed areas and reviewing our current course offerings, the district is positioned well with the current recommendations, but no final guidance will be released until June. So that is all that I have for my report tonight. Thank you. Any questions or comments? Mr. Cutlass, anything?
No, all set, Madam Chair.
Okay.
That's what the Wizard of Oz.
I don't know, Mr. Cutlass, having you remote definitely makes me speak a little bit louder.
Sorry.
No, that's not, no, your volume's high, that's not you. It helps me. So, no, I have nothing to add either, but thank you very much. I look forward to the final graduation requirements, though.
Madam Chair, just Ms. Caliendo, if we could open that door. We need to leave at least one door open for our open meeting, and I noticed they're both closed, so just want to, sorry for the interruption.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Now, I know there's been a lot of conversation about graduation requirements, and I do appreciate the fact that we've had some good conversation, I think, in our district, at least regarding the things that are already in place, especially in our high school, and kind of putting us on the path for having some things there that, I think are going to be good for students. So, thank you for the hard work that you guys have already done without somebody having to tell you to do it. Mr. Libby?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple updates. We've started our 2027 budget processes. Had some initial meetings with several principals and department heads, along with the superintendent and assistant superintendent over the past couple weeks. We're beginning with mainly salary and personnel discussions. Most of our budget is tied up in salary, as you know, and so we focus on that at the beginning. Is that looking what our needs will be for next year at the schools as we roll students forward, and kind of looking at that from that perspective, and some high-level project needs as well at our schools. We'll continue with a couple more meetings through this week and before the vacation as we prepare for initial numbers that are due early January to the town. That's one of the town bylaw requirements. We have to have initial numbers to the town manager for salary capital and salary operating capital outlay by the second Friday of the new year. So we are a little bit under the gun to get that done. So we're working on that as we go finish out the calendar year. The phone project in the classrooms at the Dewey and the Heathbrook School has been completed. So those classrooms now have the ability to receive incoming calls, limited outgoing calls as well, just for emergencies. Right now, we're limited a little bit as to by the number of lines coming into the building. But it's solving a problem in those buildings that has existed for a long time, and we were getting estimates to put in phone systems between 15 and 20K per school, and our people did it internally for about $5,600 for both schools. So to get at least something available in those classrooms for, much less money. In those schools where we really aren't sure we want to make huge investments, but we want to still be able to communicate with our students and staff as best we can. I think that was a very, very good project, and it was by putting the principals and the tech folks and the maintenance folks together and working on their needs, and that's how that got done, and happy to report it's complete.
Madam Chair, if I could add to that, I think you all remember, and you've toured the Dewey and the Heathbrook School, you know how old those buildings are, and our principals were relying on walkie-talkies to get through to classrooms. So this is really a nice update to the safety and security of our students and our staff at the building, albeit not the, the state-of-the-art systems we'd like to have. It certainly has corrected many of the concerns that we had, and the outdated intercom systems as well.
Wow. That's amazing. Thank you. Sal?
That was it. That's all I have. Sorry.
I didn't want to jump in on you. Yeah, any questions?
It's great that we did that for such little money.
Yeah.
So who kind of spearheaded that then?
Our internal IT folks were able to put it together with the equipment that we had there, and there was enough ports in the classrooms to use the internal, so it's a voice over IP phone system, and yeah.
Yeah, great.
Just a comment on the budget. When you start doing the budget presentations, can you just notate what is at risk as far as the grants that we were talking about earlier, so that we can just see where the potentials are as we move along and decisions are made or more information comes out, we can see what the impacts are.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would say right now, if nothing else is touched, it would more be programs than anything.
In the budget.
It would just be things we couldn't run because of the funding, but they would be outside of our core operation.
Okay.
Unless it was expanded into more of the grants that haven't been mentioned to this point.
Yeah, I just think if there's an impact to the budget, let's just notate it because of that. Okay, thank you. That was it.
Mr. Monkhouse?
Well said.
And Mr. Cutlass, any input?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Couldn't hear exactly what Mrs. Anderson said, but I thought it was is there any consideration to make up in this budget the grant money we're going to lose?
That's pretty much what she said, but yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, that's okay. You don't have to repeat yourself.
Well, that is unfortunately a no, not at this time, and in keeping in mind, it's not simply the funding, it would be programming and partnerships that we would not have just simply by having that $25,000 really right now, or the, upcoming 250. But we're right now haven't got that far into budgeting for new programming. We're right at that place, as Mr. Libby said, with rolling over salaries and staffing.
All right, thank you.
Questions?
No, I'm all set, thank you.
Okay. Any consideration for anything that you're looking for expansion for next year?
Capital or program?
Programming that would impact staffing.
Definitely some of the Path C, potential expansion of services, Path C services that help me, Heathbrook.
Okay.
Potentially transportation clerk. I mean, we are, Mr. Libby won't say so, but struggling without that assistant business manager through the lens of transportation issues. I mean, knock on wood, we're in a better spot right now, but those are two things I can think of off the top of my head. We're grateful to the town, who's already talked to us about a part-time communications person that is going to support the school district. So that's good. If that stays in the town budget, that's a benefit to us, which was another position we were looking, or at least expenditure we were looking on increasing.
Okay, great. Just curious, as you...
Am I missing anything, Mr. Libby?
Move your way forward.
So far, that's it.
Yeah, I know it's just fluid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely fluid. Okay, and in terms of that meeting date that we had for our budget, I know that we had kind of put that on there, and it's a pretty solid date, but should that not really work for you, Mr. Libby? We can look at that too.
Okay.
Okay, and thank you to the IT department. Looking at correspondence and informational topics, we've talked about preschool and kindergarten registration. Anything else to cover there? Everybody's good?
Mm-hmm.
Consent agenda, this will require a vote. Anything else that you wanted to cover in here? We've talked about the donations, personnel items, anything there?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, and a roll call vote. Mr. Cutlass, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Moncada?
Aye.
Mrs. Anderson?
Aye.
Mrs. B. Johnny Smith?
Aye.
And that's a unanimous vote for consent agenda. That includes donations and to the acknowledgement of the Valley Collaborative Communication. And moving on to school committee member reports. Looking at the CPAC, if there's anything new there? So Mrs. B. Johnny Smith and Mrs. Anderson.
Yeah, a couple things. They had their regular business meeting. They actually just had a sensory swap. They also just today had a parent get together at Starbucks this morning. We haven't heard how that went, but previously when they've done those types of parent group meetings in Starbucks, they've had some good attendance, so looking forward to hearing how that went. They also sponsored a fidget tree at the Winter Walk, along with some other local businesses and clubs and groups, so if anybody wants to do that. And I would say, too, that the CPAC does a really good job of updating their Facebook page, so if there's parents or caregivers out there that can't necessarily make the meetings, there's a lot of information, so I would consider friending them or following them, whatever you do to get those updates.
Yeah, and I was at the sensory swap item event that was held here. Several parents and families brought some of their gently used items that they were no longer using. There were some that I think some of the preschool staff were looking at taking in. There was a parent who got to go home with a really great adaptive stroller. So that event is pretty wonderful. I think they're going to look to do that event in the spring and maybe partner with some local CPACs to make it a little bigger, more like a community event. Yep, networking event for some of the PACs with so many things going well for families right now and such. They're working together more. I think they're looking to expand that event in the spring and not have it when it's 3 degrees and freezing and you're carrying all the stuff in and out. So on the sensory swap item, it was fun.
Okay. All right, and moving on to wellness.
Sure. Yeah, so I attended our meeting on December 3rd, and it's still full steam ahead for the March 10th Wellness Fair. And there was a representative from American Heart Association who attended. She may have done some district leadership demonstration, or not a demonstration, presentation to you guys. Just talking about some no-cost programming that they can do. There's a grant potential, I think. They also do some STEAM things. So I know we have STEAM nights, or STEAM night at the center, and I think this year the Rhine might be in addition to that. So they may be available to, come attend that as well. I did put them in touch with the PACs, so the PAC's in touch with them. And yeah, that was really it. So our next meeting is February 4th. And again, the Wellness Fair is on the 10th of March.
Where, I have a question, sorry, but where's that taking place?
I believe it's going to be here.
Here, at night?
I don't know the timing on that.
Oh, if it's possible, maybe we can get that information and then get it on the
Some
calendar.
further details.
Yeah.
And will that be open to the public, or is that just?
Oh, yeah, it's
school
open, yeah,
community?
absolutely, open up to everyone.
So that'll be like for the senior center, for,
I'm sorry, say it, what did you just
so
say?
I mean to the public in the sense that like that'll be to the senior center?
Oh, yeah, yes, it's open to it'll be open to the town, anyone who wants to attend. Yes, it's absolutely.
All right, great, thank you. All right, and then School Facilities Study Committee. So it's a combination of all of us a little bit. So Mr. Cutlass, did you want to add anything on the School Facilities Study Committee?
At this time, Madam Chair.
Okay. So, I mean, I can add a little bit, and then Mrs. Terry Regan, I think you've been working with the consultant, so I'll ask you to chime in. So the committee kind of was dormant for a bit, and then Mrs. Terry Regan, the town manager, worked on the RFP that was submitted, and then the committee came back together. We did have an opportunity to meet the consultants, and then they started doing some work in the district. So I'll let you kind of talk a little bit to what they've been doing.
Sure.
I know
They
Andrew's
kicked
been
off
seeing-
the first of a large group visioning session with approximately 50 staff members, students, community members, to really start collecting information around the vision of Tewksbury Public Schools. So this is part of the Facility Study Committee. They've been in all of our schools. They've had their sub-consultants with them. They've looked at our buildings, already presented a lot of information just in discussions. But this visioning is really what's our community looking for in the future of all of our school, not only facilities but programs. So it's a 9-hour session, so the people that have volunteered their time are truly committed to this work. The first 3-hour session was really digging deep, and feel free, colleagues, if I'm missing something, but what programs are people really happy with? What do they want to see expanded? What do they see as educational programming and experiences that students have in our building? And so it was really great. I think we were all in different groups when we did our breakout groups. We had multiple conversations with, the grade level band, from preschool to parents with babies to preschool age teachers, focus teachers, all the way through community members. So I can tell you those 3 visioning sessions will be very robust. They will be completed by the end of January. Additionally, in January, before the consultant produces their full report, we'll be reaching out to those students I talked to you about today at the high school, and then students at the Wynn, and then reaching out to the senior center community to see if they'd like to give us some input too. So all of that will feed into the consultant's final report. But that visioning kickoff went very well, and it was virtual from, I want to say 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock p.m., and people were very engaged all through the end. So looking forward to our 2 January dates. They're not off the top of my head. I want to say January 9th and something later in the month.
What is the time frame for the final report? There's a due date given to them?
There is.
Yeah.
And they expect to have a final report not only to deliver to the TSFSC, but to you and to the select board. And so that if accepted, with the final recommendations from the Facility Study Committee, then they're poised to help us with a statement of interest, whether that is an addition, an ad reno, or a new building, but whatever that final recommendation is, they want done and voted on, at least in theory, by the community by end of March, so that a statement of interest can be done by April, and I forget that due date.
Okay, so it's not that far, not that far
It's
off.
going to go fast,
Yeah.
right? It's a lot of information to gather, a lot of thoughts to get into a document from the community, and then a product will be the final recommendation.
Sorry, just the timing on that, wouldn't they have to wait until town meeting in April to vote?
No, so the process of any type of, if we wanted to go through the state, Massachusetts School Building Authority, starts with a statement of interest. And what is that statement? What is it that the community's looking to do? And then from that statement, if you're accepted, it's still a year's process even before you start the rest of the modules through the process.
Okay.
So then it goes to town meeting at some point along the way, but if we're accepted into a program, and I can't tell you what that will look like right now, then there's many other steps, including feasibility, a building committee, way before we get there.
Okay, thank you.
But they're using there were several modules or samples that this School Facility Study Committee had come up with, that they submitted to the Select Board, that they utilized when they submitted for the BRP. So they're going off of these recommendations from the School Facility Study Committee. So they're starting with that as kind of a starting point.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. I think something they stressed, which was really helpful, is we had 5 recommendations from the Facility Study Committee. You know, it could be something totally different or hybrid of all of those, and that's really up to the community.
Okay, thank you.
So, yeah, that's been a little bit of movement there. Policy Subcommittee, that's Chris Moncada and myself, and that has been nice because it's we've got kind of a set schedule for that. Thank you to Mrs. Caliendo for kind of getting us organized, and we just got a very regular schedule. It's nice. We know what we're going to look at month to month. We have regular policies that we've got on the docket, whether we want to or not. We're looking at them. So she's got us going. So thank you very much. Anything else you'd like to add, Mr. Moncada?
No, yeah, just like you said, just the regular meeting, there's, we're working through them.
Yeah, there's not really a rhyme or reason for why we're in this order. I think we've just kind of taken the letters as they've come. A couple of them have, kind of risen to the top for different reasons. So other than that, they're just in the order of, maybe they've been dormant for a while, so that's why they're here. So if there are policies that, for some reason you think need to be addressed, let us know. So informational reading, we've got reviewed and or revised. And these are going to now come before us for 2 more readings. We've got GCA, professional staff positions, GCCAB, teacher request for a leave of absence to accept an administrative position, GCCAE, staff conference attendance, GCEC, appendix B positions, recruiting, posting of vacancies, GCK, professional staff assignments and transfers, JJE-E, request for fundraising. So the fundraising ones, we knew those have been sitting with us for a while, and those have been looked at by, those have gone through the townwide PAC, those have gone through some of our principals. I think we've looked at them before, so, and these other ones, I'm not sure where you guys have sent those through, but I think those have gone through some other principals and other department heads and things like that. So any questions on any of the informational readings? Good. The first reading, reviewed and or revised, we have JRD, student photographs, JBEBC, gifts and solicitations by staff, and KBE, relations with parent advisory council and booster organizations. Again, that one went through townwide PAC over the last year or so. Any questions there? Okay. C, now these are for voting tonight. We have GCCC, professional staff family and medical leave, and then GCO, evaluation of professional staff. That is for consideration tonight. Any questions on those two policies?
No.
Okay.
Motion to approve GCCC, professional staff, family, and medical leave.
I'll second.
Okay, you want to take these individual?
Don't we normally?
No.
No, we take them as a,
slate.
and then, okay, that's fine. No, I'll add it in. Also, motion to approve GCO, evaluation of professional staff.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, a motion and a second for both of these. Mr. Cutlass, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Malcata?
Aye.
Mrs. Anderson?
Aye.
Mrs. B. Johnny Smith?
Aye.
Okay, so those two policies, GCCC and GCO, have both passed. And next, we have second and final reading. These have been reviewed or revised, and that's IKFE, competency determination, introduction, which is just the introduction that we write to our policies. That one's kind of a formality again. And then JJIBB, policy regarding volunteer coaches.
So I'll motion to approve IKFE, competency determination, our introduction, and JJIBB, policy regarding volunteer coaches.
I'll second.
Okay, a motion and a second. Mr. Cutlass, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Moncada?
Aye.
Mrs. Anderson?
Aye.
And Mrs. Biagioni Smith?
Aye.
Okay, and I vote aye as well for unanimous vote on those three policies. All right, moving on to some old business, which we have none, unless I'm wrong on that. New business, we have the next generation MCAS testing window for next year, 25-26, so this year.
Madam Chair, I'll take that. In your packet, we have provided you with the anticipated MCAS testing dates per grade level. Each grade level outlines tests administered along with the testing dates. Testing starts the last week of March, and we hope to be sharing this information with families this Friday in our monthly newsletters and posting on our website.
Okay, any questions on the testing window dates?
No.
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 Okay. All right, I have no questions either, so thank you very much for sharing those. It's always helpful. Families like to know that in advance. And then with some new school committee matters of interest. Mr. Cullis, do you have anything you'd like to share for matters of interest?
Not at this time, Madam Chair.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us remotely, Jane. It's nice having you today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me join remotely.
Okay. All right. And
Very nice.
Thank you. Mr. Moncada?
Nothing other than, I know we have a break coming up, so hope everyone enjoys their time off.
Okay. And Mrs. Anderson?
Yes, I agree. I hope everybody enjoys their holidays with their family, friends, and loved ones. But I just want to make sure that we're kept up, and you guys have been doing a really good job of this, but keeping us up to date on the grant funding issue and how that's going to affect us would be very helpful. That's it.
Okay.
So I have one thing I was hoping, and I always, future agenda items, I always do it here because then I forget when we get to the end. So I'm just going to tell you now. I almost brought it up earlier with the discussion around Project Lead the Way, also with the career pathways. I would love to hear from some students. Possibly Mr. Long could solicit some students who may be interested in sharing their experiences in those programs. I have a lot of parents who ask about the pathways. We see some of the pathway for the criminal justice program because our police department shares quite a bit of information on social media, and I don't think all parents fully understand the depth of these pathways. I didn't until I sat on this committee and learned more about them. And there's a difference between, I think, reading it in a book that explains programming and hearing from the students who have gone through it and how rewarding and engaging and hands-on some of these pathways can be. So I would really like to hear from some students on how their experiences have been with some of these programs, pathways, grant opportunities, whatever it might be. We get some here and there, but I would love to have more student interaction with some of that. And I know Chris and Katie are potentially working with some students in a subcommittee aspect or some group, but inviting them here would be wonderful.
Thank you. Wonderful suggestion.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I have three quick things. One, I think, and this could be a future agenda item, I think I'd like to make a comment about the fact that I think it's something probably to move forward to next year to talk about our listening sessions. I think we made a strong commitment to put ourselves out to the community, and we did. And I think we showed up 1 to 2 times a month. We showed up where parents and families were, whether it was open house, whether it was parent-teacher conference night. We were where families were and made ourselves available. And I think we did a good job of that. I don't think that they were really effective. So we might want to rethink what we're doing after the first of the year. So anyway, I just want to kind of be proud of all of us for doing that work and being available to the community.
Yeah, before you move into your other things, I agree. I think that also speaks loudly of the work that we do, all of us, and having an open door policy anyways. I think a lot of people come to us whenever they have a question and don't really wait for the listening session. So as great as the listening sessions are, we're very engaged as a committee with our families, with our schools. We attend events, we attend all different things, and I think people have the opportunity to touch base with us all the time. So I don't necessarily think that people just don't want to come. I think that they reach out when they have a question.
Right.
And we all do a really great job of responding to community members and families when they do. So it's not necessarily that nobody has anything to say, it's just that they don't hold their comments to wait for a session, they just kind of do it.
Yep.
So.
But we gave it a go.
We did.
I just want to publicly acknowledge
Couple little
I
tips that came
think
up.
people asked and we gave it a go. Second, I want to congratulate Kayla. She was appointed the MASC Division I Vice Chair. So congratulations. Big role. She did some work. Big shoes there. So she's doing some work. So she's a resource to the Division I. And then also, we typically will, in January, kind of do like a mid-year check-in. We'll do that with the superintendent to discuss goals, mid-year evaluation, and we've done it differently at different times. So you had some really lofty goals this year, and I think you've done amazing work incorporating the district leadership team and Dr. Milligan. Dave is doing the work of many people, so I just want to acknowledge how much you've done and know that in January we'll kind of have a more official conversation on that and just kind of give the committee a heads up if that's what's coming, but give you an opportunity too to kind of just talk a little bit about at the end of the year and kind of see where you're at.
Well, Madam Chair, with that, if you don't mind, can I take a little bit of time here? I have a prepared announcement that I want to read to you and to all the members of the community and to you members of the school committee. Bear with me. I've practiced this a lot and I hope it comes out clear. The Tewksbury School District has been my home, my passion, and truly my labor of love for the past 26 years. Tonight, I am sharing that I have made the decision to retire at the end of the school year on June 30th, 2026. This community has been central to my life, not just as an educator, as an administrator, and your superintendent, but as a resident and community neighbor and friend to so many. As a parent who proudly watched my own children grow up within our school walls, and as a former student myself who grew up here in Tewksbury, educated in our schools. Serving this district, my own hometown, has been the greatest honor of my professional life, pouring my heart and soul into the work serving students and the families of Tewksbury. But now, I am ready to transition my time to be more available to my own family in a time when they need me most. While my retirement is 6 months away, please know that I'm fully dedicated to our work today and every day through the end of June. I remain 100% focused on achieving those district goals and in executing our strategic plan together with an amazing group of administrators, 2 of whom are sitting to my left. With you, our dedicated school committee members, and with the hundreds of committed faculty and staff members at both our schools and the district office who show up every day to serve our school community and, most importantly, to serve our students. I'm privileged to work with such a talented and dedicated group of people Regarding those efforts you talked about, we'll be sharing, as you said, some of our collective mid-year district progress with you next month. But for now, together, we have very important work ahead to ensure a strong and smooth finish to this school year and in setting a robust path forward for the future of Tewksbury Public Schools. And while I'm not saying goodbye yet, I do want to sincerely thank you for allowing me to serve our wonderful community. With that, I'm going to conclude my announcement for tonight, Madam Chair, in the hopes that you'll allow me some time to fully say my goodbyes in June.
Of course.
Thank you.
Okay.
I know. I have to breathe.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And, I think I look forward to the next 6 months. I don't doubt for one second that you are going to pour your heart and soul into ensuring that the goals that you set in the summer are going to completely be fulfilled by the end of the year. I think you care more about this town and the students in these schools than anybody I've ever met. So I believe wholeheartedly that you are going to carry this out through the end of the year. So thank you for giving us the honor of you announcing this here with us and sharing this with us. So thank you very much. Any questions or comments?
We'll save it for June, too.
Yeah, yeah.
It'll be well-deserved, so.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Any questions? We're good? Well, I'll save it for June.
No, been talking about this for quite some time, so finally made the decision, and I'm very happy for you, and hope your family's happy, and you're going to enjoy that time.
They're watching. Yeah. I don't think they believed I'd actually give an announcement, so they're verifying right now.
It's confirmed. So, okay. All right, let's go. We've got work to do.
We sure do.
And we got 6 more months. And, all right, so future school committee dates that we know you'll be here for. January 14th, January 28th, February 9th. We have budget workshop is on January 28th, and public budget hearing will be on February 9th, as well as a regular business meeting. And then we have future subcommittee and advisory committee meeting dates. We have the CPAC on the 15th of January. We have wellness, as you said, February 4th. Policy, December 23rd, next week. We're going to squeeze that right in. And we're not taking any days. And then Tewksbury School Facility Study Committee is going to meet on January 7th. So, if anybody's interested, you can always attend the meeting. It's not a quorum if you're attending the meeting. And then future agenda items, district goal check-in. So we already talked about that. We're going to do a district goal check-in. And our committee goal check-in, and then we're going to have fall athletic recognitions. So I just wanted to mention those, and if anybody else has anything else.
No, nothing different.
Okay, so at this time, I will entertain a motion to enter into executive session. This will be a non-public session. This will be to discuss approval of executive session minutes and collective bargaining pertaining to the TTA bargaining unit.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Mrs. Biagioni-Smith, a second from Mr. Moncada. How do you vote, Mr. Cutlass? Aye. Mr. Moncada?
Aye.
Mrs. Anderson?
Aye.
Mrs. Biagioni-Smith?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well for unanimous vote. So we'll enter into executive session, and we will adjourn both sessions after executive session. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.